Gentlemen, start your engine!
Drivers, start your engines!
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Remember what I told all my drivers? Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time! Drivers, start your engines!
And gentlemen, start your engine!
And welcome back to the final episode of the Green White Checker podcast. I shouldn't say the final episode. Final of this
Final
season.
ever. This is it, guys.
Yeah.
This is it.
Series finale.
NASCAR has wrapped things up at Phoenix, so we have crowned 3 champions. And before we get into that, though, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, give us a thumbs up on YouTube, leave comments. Okay, well, let's hop into Phoenix. Joey Logano wins the race, wins the championship. Overall, Zach, how you feeling?
About the race or the championship? Two vastly different topics.
Let's go to the race. We're going to talk a lot about the championship, but let's get to the race.
I think the race, if you look at the race in a vacuum and just look at Phoenix, like it was just a Phoenix race. Like I think it was fine. I thought it was pretty good for a Phoenix race. The problem is you can't look at it in a vacuum because it's our main event, right? That's what it's been built to be. You know, I think we've said it before. It's just, you know, the setup to it, it's put on this pedestal. It's supposed to be, you know, this big climax with excitement and blah, blah, blah. And Phoenix just isn't going to deliver that. I think what we saw Sunday was probably the best you could expect from a Phoenix race. With, you know, Phoenix being in its current state, the car being the car and all that stuff. I thought it was fine. I mean, Blaney, Bell, a couple other guys, Joey, they were able to make passes and move up through the field. It just doesn't look very exciting. So, I mean, as a race on its own, I thought it was fine, but like as a championship race, I get how people could be let down by it.
Joe, your thoughts? Yeah, Joe's muted. Austin.
I think, in essence, I think, like Zach said, race in a vacuum. I thought it was really good for a Phoenix race. I think I could talk about a lot. Expectations. I think my expectations are on the absolute floor. So to go in and actually have some decent racing, see some guys run some multiple lines, I thought was kind of cool. Like, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, this is exciting for Phoenix. So again, bar was on the floor, and I think it exceeded that bar, which was good. I thought that, you know, championship aside, the ending was really frustrating when you have Ryan Blaney, who's clearly got a faster car, pulls up multiple seconds, and Joey Logano suddenly just gets stuck half a second back, can't make a pass. Different lanes aren't working anymore. Just 30 years king. You know, like, you know, I'm sure we say this a lot, but any car going to have dirty air. It just seems to be extra bad these past 2 gens, which we were hoping the diffuser was going to fix, and seemed to obviously have fixed a lot of the issues. And that was a pain to see, especially as someone who would have much preferred, even just in a race sense, not even championship sense, just would have liked to see Ryan win over Joey. So that was really frustrating. So maybe a little biased there, but I think I hate seeing that. It just brings me back to Gen 6, you know, 1.5 days where you have the guy just getting stuck, gets up to a half second behind the guy, then gets airtight, gets back to a second, and then he's just fighting back and forth and can never actually pass the guy. So, but that aside, still pretty solid for Phoenix, I'd say.
Were we all hoping that Blaney passed Logano?
Nope.
Yes.
No?
Zach
Zach wanted to watch NASCAR.
Zach wanted chaos. Zach wants
Hell
chaos.
yeah.
He wanted the least.
If you were anti-playoffs, you wanted Joey Logano to win. That's just a fact. If you were anti-playoffs, such as myself, Joey Logano winning was the best result.
All right, Joe, your thoughts now that you're unmuted.
Yeah, that I'm unmuted. Yeah, again, what y'all have said, expectations below the floor for Phoenix, right? Because it's really never raced great like you would expect a short track to run. And I just kind of hate that that's where we are with a lot of these tracks in this current car is we have no expectations. So every race seems better than it really is. And it was a good Phoenix race, all things considered, right? It wasn't the worst. We've had way worse Phoenix races, But again, it's our championship race. It should be like a great event. Like if this race was at Miami, it would be awesome. Like we would have many lanes, and we did have a little bit of that, but guys ripping the wall and different tire strats and all that stuff. And man, it's Phoenix. Can't really. I just don't get excited for Phoenix. If it was in the middle of the year, sure, but for a championship race, I'm just kind of disappointed.
I'm on an island here, I feel like, because I think last year everybody was saying, Phoenix was awful and all this. I was like, I didn't mind this race. And then here you guys are all like, yeah, it wasn't a bad for a Phoenix race. I thought it was awful. I thought this was absolutely horrendous. And I don't know if it's because, I'm a Reddick fan and I'm watching him race, 10 cars back all race. But holy crap, was that awful. It was every restart you could pass for one lap.
Mm-hmm.
You were there, unless if there was pit stops or a lap car or a caution. And then you do it all over again. I thought it was awful. You had, the Blaney thing where he's faster. He catches him. Can't do anything. And we saw the opposite on Saturday, where, the guy can catch people and pass them. It's a little bit of Phoenix, a little bit of the car. It just, what are we doing, NASCAR? Like, you want this Game 7 moment that you're forcing us into, and then you give us Phoenix of all places. Like, I don't understand the thought process here. And I'll say this, I think Logano's deserving of the championship. A lot of people says he's not, He won 4 races this year. Granted, fuel mileage and super speedway and all, he won 4. That's more than Reddick. That's more than a lot of guys. So I don't know. I hate that he made it that far because of a fuel mileage thing, but that's racing. It is. So I don't know. I was very just disappointed overall in the race. Granted, maybe my dislike for Joey Logano had something to do with it, but I just thought that race was horrendous. And then, the added thing with the playoffs that we'll get into here in a bit, and it was just, I don't know what to say. But let's talk about the best part of this race, though. At least in my mind. The pace car hitting the freaking pit road wall.
Pace car, lack of talent, skill issue.
Heck. Did they say who was driving it? Is it still Bodine?
I didn't see.
No idea.
I don't know.
I know for years it was Bodine every race, so it just lost the back end and hit the wall. At first,
he turned in way too late.
Yeah. At first,
he missed his exit. Just go around again.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
I feel like that's happened before, like where they've gone around another lap, but I don't know. Hilarious.
I think I guess he just forgot he's supposed to exit there. Or I guess he forgot it was the last lap.
All the like onboards, like Chase was restarting first there, and his onboard of that was just, and then it just crushes into it. And hey, Chase, as boring as Chase can be, he did post a meme about it on Instagram, like the cat driving one.
The social media guy posted a meme.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's better than what you get normally from Chase, so we'll take it. Baby steps.
Sure.
Baby steps.
I meant to go back and listen to audio from the drivers that witnessed it just to see what they had to say, but I don't know. It was entertaining to say the least. All right. I don't even know where we go from here.
Just go right into the championship thoughts.
Yeah, there's not really much to talk about this race. It was
a race.
Yeah, there wasn't much going on. It was Logano pretty much took the lead on a restart, and that was it. Blaney caught him, but couldn't pass. So yeah, how about the championship? How are we feeling? Obviously, Zach's team Chaos, and said last week that if Logano, he wanted Logano to win.
Actually, I'm anti-team Chaos. That's the whole point. I'm the opposite. That's why I don't like the playoffs, is because the playoffs are all about chaos. So I want to burn the whole chaos. System.
You wanted chaos this race to prove that chaos is not good.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's like, if this is what you want, then fine, kind of thing.
I think I saw someone. Sorry, you can go ahead.
No, I was just rambling. Go ahead.
I think I saw someone sum it up pretty perfectly. That they there's like whatchamacallit. Whenever you manufacture a game 7 moment, it's
not
takes away from it being a game 7 moment. It's like if you set up something to be like put up bumpers, if you bowl a strike with bumpers on, it doesn't feel as good as bowling a strike naturally. Even if you gutter ball it 10 times, that one strike is like, all right, cool, that felt great, versus getting 8 strikes with the bumpers up. You're like, all right, yeah, I got strikes, but like whatever. It kind of takes away from it that there's this, I was basically guided to a strike. And so I don't know. I think that's where NASCAR wants these game 7 moments. They want to avoid the boring seasons where someone wins, 5 races to go. They're already locked in the championship like you have in Formula 1. But
yeah, they wanted to stop the Jeff Gordon stuff.
Right,
Gordon
exactly.
would win it 2 races before.
But wasn't there a
that
thing
never
though,
happened?
there was.
It did.
Zach
Oh, it
put
did.
But
how many times did it happen?
There's no way it never happened. You can't say that. There's no shot.
There was
happened,
multiple
like-
times. Like Ray Evernham changed tires on a car because Gordon had the championship won going into Atlanta.
From what I saw, there's been times where it's happened 1 race out, but people make it sound like it happened like 2 or 3 or 4 races out. I saw somebody posted they had a list, and it was only like, I forget. There's only like a couple times have they clinched more than 1 race out, like throughout the whole Lapford system era. So it's like they always make it sound like you're gaslit into thinking, oh, it happened all the time. Like I saw somebody today on Twitter saying Jimmy Johnson would clinch 5 races out. That literally never happened.
Yeah.
Look at this. When it Larson essentially clinched pretty early on.
No, that's the like.
This year?
At least like the other, like that one year where he won like 7 races or whatever. Surely he would have clinched.
I don't know. It depends. I don't know how he actually.
There's no shot it never happened in all the years of NASCAR. There's no way no one won the championship.
What's the number you're saying? How many races out? 1 race out. Yes, it has happened. 2 races out. Only a handful.
3.
Yeah, I'm hearing 3 a lot.
From what I can tell, it's never happened 3. I mean, somebody fact check me, look it up, see if you can find one. But from what I see, it has not happened 3 races out.
So, and here's my thing. Even
maybe back in like the Richard Petty days when he's like running when there's like 100,
which is still NASCAR. So
we'll call it modern era NASCAR. Exclude all the
the 90s on.
So yeah,
when did the modern era start? I thought modern era started like 80s.
89.
I think we just point to Formula 1 where this happens a lot because you have the Red Bulls who win every single race.
Right, like Formula 1's like a
5-10 races out.
Right, it's like a whole nother thing, and you only have really 2 cars, maybe 3 fighting for the win in Formula 1. So like they're a whole different thing. I think it's kind of a little different this year, isn't it? Like it sounds like
it's closer.
I was going to point that out. Is that like okay? Now it's actually kind of like I'm actually a little bit interested in Formula 1 right now because like I haven't been watching. Well, they also have fucking 10-week breaks every
every
race.
They have such a hard season.
It's so draining. Pinnacle of motorsports.
Hey, they have like 1 back-to-back races in the year.
Let's give them a break here. Let's give them a break. But that's interesting. So, this is finally happening. And even with Formula 1, people still watch it. And like the racing itself is boring, which makes it boring. When you have the same guy winning every week, that's boring. I don't think, I guess to your point, Zach, I don't think we'll ever have that where you have the same guy winning every single week. We'll have races or seasons where like Larson puts up, how many wins was that? 7 wins?
I think he had 10. I think he had 10 wins that whole season.
He had like a bunch of wins. You'll have those seasons, of course, but you're not going to have the Formula 1 to the Formula 1 level, thankfully.
Right.
So I don't know. I think,
I mean, you got to remember Gordon had 13 wins in 1 season at one point. So,
and I mean, you're going to have it. Like the other thing is too, is like, but if you have those magical seasons every once in a while, is that so bad?
No.
Why is that such a bad thing? Like we want to,
like that guy's deserving.
Not having, exactly. We talk about not having star power and stuff like that. Well, because you don't have these dominant performances. Like think about it, the breakout year that I know I'm biased because Christopher Bell fan, but like the breakout year Christopher Bell could have had this year. I mean, if you go by the Winston points, which I know is because they would have raced different, all that bullshit. But like going into the playoffs, he was like 300 points behind Reddick, and he would have won the championship at Phoenix against Chase Elliott by 5 points. Like that would have been fucking wild.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're raw. It's just like to Drake's point, like a strike with bumpers versus none. Like that would have been unexpected. Because even like I remember everybody's memeing Mamba Smith on it about it because somebody posted it. And the reason I know Bells was back that much is because somebody posted the points like back at the beginning of the playoffs. And he's like all smug. Boy, I'm glad you posted this. Look at this. Second place is 300 points back. What an exciting championship. And then it finishes with an actual what would have been exciting. Like you don't know what's going to happen. Everything's dynamic. Who knows? You know, because Tyler Reddick had a huge lead, but then he had an awful playoffs. You know, he still made the championship 4, but he didn't really have a good playoff. So he dropped it. Right. Like the field is so competitive now that I don't think you're going to get, you know, huge gaps and clinching all the time. And if you do, fucking celebrate it. Say, holy cow, that guy kicked everybody's ass this year. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's my thing. It's like everyone's complaining that, oh, it wouldn't be exciting if we got rid of the playoffs. It's like, it shouldn't be exciting. You know, it should be about the best team throughout the whole season winning the championship.
I agree.
Right.
And could it be? Yeah, sure it could be. I remember watching Mark Martin and Gordon all the time, going back and Martin losing by like 2 points and stuff like that. And it was just back and forth the whole race. And that's been taken away from us. Now we've getting this forced game 7 where, you got 4 guys that any of them could win it, but it's forced. And can it be exciting? Sure it can. But is that the best way to say, hey, you did a great job all season. Here's this big trophy. Like, I don't know. I feel like what we need to do, go back to the old cup system and then do the Denny Hamlin bracket challenge if we really want to, just for fun.
Right, you can do
$1 million
stuff to spice it
$2
up in the
million
middle of the season.
Yeah. But man, you're crowning the best race team of the season, not the best team of Phoenix.
Yes, because that's what it's come down to. It's like that everyone says the first Phoenix race of the year is so important because they got to nail their setup, and everyone's like, "Oh, Blaney was really fast," and you know, whoever's really fast, they probably
Bell
got
and Reddick were the fastest, and look at them.
And it's like that should not be how your championship is because everyone wants to compare to stick and ball sports. It's like,
oh my god, if I have to see somebody else bring up that fucking Giants Patriots game. Oh my god,
that too. But also, I'll circle back to that. They're like, it's like you have to be good at Phoenix to win the championship, right?
Or wherever the track is.
In football, it doesn't matter. Like your team you have to be on it for the whole playoffs. It's level playing field. If it's raining, both teams are playing in the rain, right? It's not like, oh, you know, the Panthers are better on turf versus whatever, then they're going to have an advantage. Maybe there's a little bit, but like, you know what I mean? And then, the whole the Patriots and Giants, Joey Logano probably wouldn't have been a wild card team in that freaking NFL season. His average finish was 17, something like that. Like he would have missed the actual playoffs if we went on average finich, the 16 team playoff, the top 16. He would not have made that. So he would not have even been a wild card team. So I hate that.
I just figured it out. So everyone's saying that you can't play all NFL teams at the same time, so it's not the same thing and all this stuff. And we keep saying it's a forced game 7. So what this is like is you take all the NFL mascots, you cut them down to half at the end of the regular season, and then you just throw them in the Super Bowl. And whichever mascot wins the race, that team's the Super Bowl champion. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the team, right? It's all in the driver pretty much. It's all it is.
Here's my dissenting opinion, I guess. Not even opinion, just dissenting thought, I guess. Devil's advocate.
We don't have opinions here. It's all
You're so right. It's all fact. That's true. Whenever we're on. And when we disagree, then just everyone's correct. So this comes up a lot with Call of Duty because everyone's all up in arms on Twitter about skill-based matchmaking. That skill-based matchmaking is the worst. I wish it was back in Modern Warfare 2 days where there was no skill-based matchmaking, blah, blah, blah. Like everyone wants this thing. Everyone's like, this is way better. Everyone on Twitter agrees it's way better. Activision, Call of Duty, whoever tests this in certain markets and they turn off skill-based matchmaking without telling anybody. They turn it off in certain regions for a period of time. Viewer count or player count plummets. everyone stops playing. Everyone's mad because they think they want this one thing. They actually get it without even realizing they're getting it. And now suddenly everyone hates it. They don't really know what what they're asking for. Where we talk all the time about, oh, we got rid of this track. Why do like people are already complaining that we got rid of Bristol Dirt. Like Bristol Dirt was a great idea, blah, blah, all this stuff. Meanwhile, everyone also complained about Bristol Dirt. So at what point are the fans wrong? Like, is it actually more exciting than we just don't realize? Like we talk all the time, like, okay, this race, it was very exciting to watch this playoff point battle go off. These people around the cut line on this race, or I was like, cool to watch this, whatever. Like, is there actually more viewership, more involvement, more everything in a playoff system like this than there is in just a classic regular Winston Cup style series, especially in a day where viewership is so important, where getting clicks is important, where having these storylines is so important. I mean, I guess it's always important having that viewership, but I'd say like it's even exaggerated now. Like, is there a chance that NASCAR might know a little bit of what they're talking about? And this is actually, while Twitter is up in arms about it, is there a chance this is actually drives higher viewership for the entire season versus having viewership cut off once it's kind of like a clear winner for, like, it may not have been decided until 2 races out, but unless Kyle Larson wrecks out of every single one of the last 5 races, he's out. You know what I mean? Like at what point, is there actually a big viewership difference for this kind of thing that NASCAR is seeing? And that's why they're so dead set on keeping the playoffs the way they are.
If there was anything to suggest that was the case, I'd buy into it, but I haven't seen anything to suggest that. Like, the ratings were the highest they ever were pre sort of shenanigans for the playoffs, or even before the chase. Well, they did go up a little bit during the chase, and then I think they fell down. And I always wonder, like, did people give the chase a shot for a couple years and then say, "Fuck this, I'm done"?
Where did the chase start?
2004. I love
four. That's
I
right,
swear everyone bitched about the chase too. That's the thing, is now we're all like, bring the chase back, bring the chase back. It's like,
I think
the chase too.
Bringing the chase back is sort of like a compromise, I think, from what I've seen, because everybody's saying how NASCAR is not going to go to a full season point system like that. We are not doing that, which I don't understand why they're so hard set on saying it, but apparently that's the thing. So it's like a compromise. Like, okay, well, if we can't have full season, can we just do the chase? Because at least that's like a compromise. Because, on the flip side, I do get the need, like, from the broadcasting side, to have storylines to sort of tighten the field at the end of the season, so it kind of makes it a little more exciting. I don't like the randomness of the chase, of like just winning in bullshit, or not the chase, I'm sorry, the playoffs, with just the winning in bullshit, because you get guys like fucking Harrison Burton in there. We would have had Austin Dillon in there, who's 33rd, had NASCAR not decided to disqualify him. Like, you get these random people who I don't see as deserving, just me personally. I don't think a win is enough to justify your championship bid. Like, it just isn't. So, I mean, at least with the chase or something like that, or if you just got rid of the winning in, even, like, to me, then you are getting that cream of the crop to actually make it into your postseason, and then you can kind of do whatever from there. So you get a more legitimate champion. Like, it's not hurting the integrity of the sport and the championship as much as just like whatever the fuck we're doing now.
Right.
Yeah. Because if you do the 10 team chase, like, I think 16 is way too much to begin with. I think we all are maybe kind of like that, but like, all right, you are
too much.
Yeah, it is too much. But like with the top 10, like, all right, top 10, like, they've been running consistently well throughout the year. Their average finish is not 17.1. And like, I mean, seriously, like, Logano only got in the playoffs because his dumb Silver Spoon teammate spun out in Nashville, and they had 10 overtimes, and he somehow saved enough fuel. I don't know how he did that. Like, other than that, he would have been, whatever in points. But if you have the top 10, you have the chase, it's guys who've been more consistent throughout the whole year. And then, all right, hey, you got to be consistent for 10 more to get the cup. And you can maybe afford a bad race more than in the playoffs. Maybe not that, but I
mean, it's a sample size. Yeah. And everybody has to push. Like, people talk about, like, I've seen comments, oh, we don't like points racing, guys just sit in fifth and, just sort of take it. We points race now more than ever. And And guys take it easy now more than ever. What the hell did Joey Logano do at Homestead in Martinsville after he won Vegas? Fuck
Jack
off.
shit.
Like, so how is it he ran 17th all day? So how is that any better than, a guy who's like, you know what, I'm just going to take this 4th place finish. And that's not how it worked either. Like, racers race. They go for the win. Now, sometimes a 4th place is all you can muster, and you just take it. Like, I just don't understand the logic. Like I said, we points race now more than ever. What the fuck do you think the shenanigans at Martinsville with the Chevys was all about?
Yep.
It was all about keeping from losing 1 point. So it's just, I don't know. People just like think these things that happened are so bad, and they somehow don't happen now when yes, they do.
Yeah. I'm very anti winning you're in. I know I've heard a lot of the NASCAR family saying that, oh, we should keep the winning in, and no, get rid of it. It's the worst thing to happen to this sport
Absolutely.
ever, because as Zach said, you can win Daytona, and you can literally take the next 20 something races off and just chill in the back, and then you show up ready for the playoffs. And
they double down and get rid of the top 30 in points thing.
Yeah,
too.
that's the thing. There's no incentive to keep running. Like, you could literally finish dead last in points, which Harrison Burton wasn't he?
Pretty much
second to last.
A full-time driver.
He was entering the playoffs. He was dead last, even with the win, dead last in points of full-time drivers. Yes.
Yeah. Last year or this year, they got rid of you had to be top 30, which is still awful. You should still have to be top 20, if anything.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
Get rid of the winning in. Give them a bonus. I don't care. Give them a 50-point bonus. Don't fucking give them an automatic entry into the playoffs. It shouldn't be allowed. It should be the best drivers out there. I mean, on any given Sunday, you're getting what? 12 guys that have a realistic shot at winning?
More than that now, because you made this car the same.
Maybe
every
15.
Sunday, though?
I mean, maybe not every Sunday, but I mean, you don't know. How many winners do we have this year? Like, in total, we had like 17
15?
winners or something like that. Like, I'm talking like season entirely, because you had Chris Buescher and Ross Chastain both get wins. And that's the other thing, Ross Chastain, Chris Buescher, Bubba Wallace, they all had great years, but you wouldn't know it because they missed the fucking playoffs because of stupid winning in bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, Bubba Wallace on paper, I think, had his best year ever this year.
And with the
cup wins, he finished 13th.
Jeez, there you go. But even with the Burton win, we weren't celebrating Wood Brothers' 100th win. Burton got his first one. We're all up in arms because
you're arguing about it.
Now he's in the playoffs and he's 50th in points. We're taking away, like, that would have been if there's no one in, like, it would have been sweet. Like, hey, Burton got his win. His dad made the call, and Wood Brothers got their 100th win. But no, now we're all bitching about the playoffs, and you take away from that thing, and then maybe Austin Dillon doesn't terrorize Richmond. Maybe he's like, okay, it's not winning in. He probably still goes for the win, but he probably doesn't do that. Maybe he takes out one car, but he doesn't right hook Denny. Like, he probably races that different, and we're not all then bitching about should they suspend him, take his win away, which they did, or took his playoff eligibility away. You're taking away from these wins of smaller guys, smaller teams that should be celebrated. Instead, we're all like, nope, playoffs, rightfully, but you take away from that.
Well, and even in the season-long format, they had things where, like, leading a lap was a point and stuff like that. And DNFs,
do it.
There was something with DNFs. Like, I don't know if they got 0 points or what the deal was. So you had guys that were, like, literally out there with 3 wheels on a car, it felt like, trying to finish a race. And, you had an incentive to be out on the track. And now you win that race, you're done. Just wait until the end. And then you got 10 races to worry about. And you
basically saw that. Basically saw that with William Byron. See what had a great first start of the season. I mean, maybe he just
3 wins, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, maybe he just got cold. But I mean, I think we're all talking like it feels like he's just kind of testing new things out.
Yeah,
like for the team or whatever. So would love to see him continue to like do well and continue to actually like push the rest of the season. But I don't think we saw that. And so then it's just kind of waters down the rest of the season because he's like, why would they risk the money and everything to fight for wins when you don't have to? You're just already in the playoffs. You already have a good points lead. You already have like a good chance. Like obviously, like you have that season that Larson dominated. He was basically blocked in every round until like the final four, the amount of points he had or whatever it was. So like he could have had that a little bit more, but still, it's like why there's not that much incentive to keep going,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Your position in the playoffs is set to a point where now you are more valuable being a development car
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
a sense. Like you are more valuable to test things and maybe help your teammates get into a better position and help the organization as a whole, or to help the playoff bid itself. Like Jeff Burton is making me laugh. Like they're talking about this on the broadcast on today, and they're just like lamenting over the playoff. Every race matters. No, it fucking doesn't.
No.
You have so many races that don't mean fuck all. Like ask Joey Logano again. How much did Martinsville and Homestead matter for him? Not at all. Like every race doesn't matter, and that's the problem. I want every race to be important. I don't want these guys to feel like, oh, we can just fuck off now. Like that pisses me off. That's not how like championships in racing should work. Like it's just.
Well,
I mean,
and
that's how football is, right? You know, we want to compare to ball sports. They can't just be like, meh, this week. You know what I mean? Like they have to be at it every single week.
I mean, every once in a while they do it, and they end up losing a game that ends up being important. And I don't know, but as Austin was saying, you go out, you win a race, and then I mean, your crew chief can sit there and just test all season, trying to figure out little tips and tricks while you're running like dog shit, because he's just getting ready for the playoffs. So you get an upper hand, yeah, but it doesn't matter. And that's what needs to be. The championship needs to be about who did the best all season long, who's out there performing, show they're the best team, as a whole. The pit crew chief, everybody. And we're not getting that. It just means nothing. And we're seeing that in viewership. We're seeing it, I feel like, in attendance, just period. I mean, we did a little research and looked at just viewership over the playoff system. It's not good. It's down every year except for one. And that little uprise was little. It was what? So we started off.
It's pretty average, if you ask me.
It's almost too many.
Yeah.
Can't go too much in 1 year.
Yeah, I don't know. Gosh, it's too much to handle, I'd say. Golly.
Well, I'll tell you another number here after I read these real quick. But 2015, Jeff Gordon's last race, supposedly, besides for the Dale Earnhardt stuff, 7.64 million viewers.
Quite a bit.
We dropped down to 6.08. Dale Jr.'s last season, 4.7 million. So already taking a big hit. 4.1, 3.7. Then we go to Phoenix, 3 million. So now we're down 700,000. 3.2, 3.2, 2.9, and then this year 2.89. Just steady downhill. And I mean, NASCAR's come out and said they like what they see.
That's what I don't get. Like, where is the evidence to suggest that this is working? It's nowhere. Like, it has just been a downward trend ever since it started. Like, and then you look at F1 and their format, and honestly, I think F1 has a worse racing product than we do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
The championship is usually Pinnacle Racing. The championship is usually a lot more boring than ours is, but they're seeing growth in the US. And yet you have Kevin Harvick today saying on his podcast, we cannot go back to a full season format. Like, why? Why not? Why are we so hard set on not doing that? Well, even them, why are they so invested? They're losing.
Like
viewership.
I said, there's got to be some kind of numbers they're looking at that's saying, hey, although Twitter's up in arms, and again, Twitter is an echo chamber. I think we forget that a lot. Everyone on Twitter is saying this. I talked to my boss about it, who's a big Logano fan, is not on Twitter. And I was like, yeah, man, if Joey wins this, I'm just going to be like completely sold out on the playoff system. Blah, blah. He's like, why? I was like, you can explain it to him all you want, but it's like,
because Joey sucks ass.
Yeah, I mean, he hated to see Joey win too, because he's a big Blaney fan. But I was just like, I'm like, oh yeah, you don't see just constant negativity on Twitter from Zach's Twitter account all the time, so you're just not.
I can't help it that my Twitter pops off sometimes. Ratio.
No, but like I do think we're in I think we're in a bit of an echo chamber, and I think I think Twitter's and the Twitter accounts we see. We probably see 20 Twitter accounts tweeting these things and dissenting opinions versus all the accounts we don't see on Twitter who are supporting it, all the people outside of the sport, outside of Twitter who are supporting it or against it or whatever. But there's got to be something that's telling them, hey, this is working from a viewership standpoint, no matter how much our little corner of the internet is saying it sucks. You know what I mean? Like it's in some way. Otherwise, if it's not making them money, they're not doing it. So it's clearly making them money. That's, you know what I mean? Like there's something.
But you say the viewers, and they lost viewers.
How many though? Is it a significant? I feel like it's not every number I've seen is like, oh, we lost 0.02 points this year compared to last year. It's like, okay.
Well, when you're comparing year to year, it's not bad. But when you compare from like Andrew just said,
the very beginning to now,
the beginning of the chase,
5 million
or the playoffs to now, yeah, you're down.
I mean, yeah, we also have had cars that don't perform well on certain tracks and everything, and I think we've seen this car do well on different tracks. We've also seen it be really shitty on other tracks. I don't know. I think there's more to consider just the playoff system, but there's got to be there's something telling them this is working, unless they're just idiots and they're like, we don't actually like making money.
I mean, you'd be surprised how disconnected higher ups can be.
I mean,
and I'm not saying
I'm fully aware of disconnected they be, but
700,000 viewer drop to switch to Phoenix. 700,000.
Wait,
and you're telling me it's working?
What to Phoenix?
When they went to Homestead.
From Homestead to Phoenix.
Right.
That year to the next year. And
okay, that's one race difference. Like I get the championship race should have a higher viewer count.
No. I'm saying the Homestead championship race in 2019 to the Phoenix race championship race. There's a 700,000.
All I'm saying is I understand the higher ups are very disconnected, but you're acting like you're seeing all the numbers. You're acting like you see the numbers the higher ups do. Something is working.
I would think
it's making them money. Otherwise, they're not. Whether it's sponsorships, whether it's ad space, whether it's whatever, something is working. Otherwise, they're not doing this anymore. And so we keep watching. Everyone keeps watching. Like there's no way they're doing this and losing money. Like they have some investment somewhere that's made them locked into this, and they can't get out of it. There's some contract that they can't financially get out of, or the viewership is working in some regard that we're not seeing. Then that's the only way they're keeping it. Otherwise, why would you ever keep that?
I think
from a business perspective, why would you ever keep something that's losing you millions?
Some sort of viewership gain from this, NASCAR would be blasting it all over, especially right now. Like if it was increasing anything that would mean anything to us, they'd be blasting it. Now, obviously, NASCAR is making money because they did a TV deal for $7 billion. And maybe in that TV deal is something about some postseason bullshit. I don't know. That's what I want to know. Like where somebody show me something. I would love to see some sort of metric that says this is beneficial somewhere, somehow.
It could simply be. Good.
You guys want to hear some numbers? Some real numbers here.
Let finish this point first.
Let me just finish this. Just from my perspective, and I understand I have a narrow view of the world. I don't see an increase in viewership. So if the idea of something is to increase in viewership so you can increase the cost of your ad space, and you can run more ads, make more money that way, that's not working. So where is this gain? Because I agree with you. Like if they're continuing to do it, surely it has to be making them money somewhere. But how? Like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I have no idea where the gain is, and it could simply be that hey, Fox gets the 500, then the Super Bowl of NASCAR. So we get the playoffs, and if you get rid of the playoffs, then
I heard that was part of it.
Yeah, their entire package deal is in watered down. Because then what do they have? Like does Fox have the 600?
Not this year.
Not
next year.
Not anymore.
Well, I mean, in previous years. I mean, they did.
They
previous years they had it, and then Bristol Night is
NBC.
Then Darlington.
Darlington's NBC.
Well, now each have a Darlington, right?
Yeah, I know.
Well, the big one, the crown jewel Darlington is NBC.
But Fox is.
I'd have been raising hell if I was NBC and Fox tried stealing my throwback weekend. NBC did a much better job of that. Fox,
for sure. But there's something somewhere that this is making sense for NASCAR to do. They're not just doing it and losing everything. They're losing viewership, for sure. But they're making it up somewhere to where this is what's working for them. Again, it could simply boil down. We see how much power the TV networks have by them calling the 600 race short, or whatever. I think it was that race that they literally made the call.
It's damp outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And so they have a lot of power, and so it could simply be down to, hey, if you get rid of the playoff system, we NBC are out, because then our entire package deal is completely watered down and there's no reason to do it. So it could simply boil down to that, and then they have no one else bidding for the spots. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I just don't understand it because then if I'm NBC and if I'm losing viewership, why do I want to keep doing it? Like where I just want to know. Like I just want to know what is the gain from either NASCAR or the TV partner. You know, all I see is loss, and I know about the echo chamber on Twitter and all that stuff. But even still, just looking at the raw numbers of viewership, it is going down.
Right.
And, you know, I know there's people that do like to play. I'm not saying there isn't. There's definitely people that like it. I call them idiots. I'm just kidding.
But we're bots. So, you know,
we're bots, apparently, according to Mike Ford. There's a lot of bots that voted on that Jeff Gluck poll, by the way. So I don't know. It's just like, I just want to give me that peek behind the curtain. You know, if you want to justify this to me, let me see. Like, how is it working? I mean, I'm sure it's I saw somebody today say something about betting. Like betting is supposedly a big influence on it. I don't know how that works.
Dale Jarrett.
I could see it because you're going to get more bets on more drivers because when you hit the round of 16, everybody's got a shot. Then when you hit the round of 8, everybody's got a shot, you know? So yeah, there's going to be more money. But all right, what I was going to hop in and say was in 2003, last year, the Winston Cup Championship, you had for the championship race, 12.1 million viewers. A lot, right?
It's a lot.
So then the next thing I can find, viewership for the 2005 championship race. Rated a 5.9 out of 11, the second highest history in the event, only below last year, so 2004, which I don't have the numbers for. But this race, 2005, 19 million viewers.
That was Jimmy's
second.
Was that Jimmy's first title, right? I think.
2005. I think that was Stewart. I think Jimmy.
No, that was Tony.
Yeah. Stewart, yeah. But let's talk about a viewership drop. We're getting 2.9,
barely
19.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's crazy. And that was like,
but I mean, that was the peak. And I mean, I think the peak is unsustainable. Like, 19 million, that's a shitload. I don't know if we hold that forever, no matter what. But like, I mean, once you start getting around, 10, like you go, like once you get to like twos, like I don't know, it's kind of like, wait a minute.
Yeah, something's got to be changed. We were tagged in a Adam Stern post. A senior NASCAR team executive said that format changes they'd like to see evaluated include whether the regular season champion should get locked into one of the later rounds of the playoffs.
No.
Fuck no.
No.
Stop locking
because
people in.
Then that team, if they get locked into the round of 8, then there's 6 races they're just not going to give a shit about. They're just going to ride in the back and make sure they don't wreck and help out their teammate. No.
I've seen a lot of people saying that it shouldn't be a one race thing. I agree.
I agree.
Don't make the championship race one race. 3, 5, do something like that. Another
10,
thing that
12, 36.
It's like if we're going to compromise, because let's be
36.
realistic, we're not getting a full point system back anytime soon. Like I think I put this in general, but I think this was Asteroid tweeted this, and he's like, you still have your 16 teams, but I still think it's too much. And you have first 5 races, and then you cut 8, and then you have your championship 5 races. I can live with that, right? Like if we're gonna have to compromise, we're gonna have to compromise somewhere because we're not getting the full 36. We're probably not even gonna get the chase. So if we gotta compromise somewhere, that's my vote. But yeah.
So one thing I did think about adding was, we're bitching about Phoenix, and now we're bitching, Penske just runs really well at Phoenix.
They 100% have a cheat for the playoffs, by the way. Like
they got something.
Logano was technically illegal. He failed tech.
Right. The car that failed pre-race 2 times won the race.
So just point that out.
But what if, say, we had the winner of the championship go on a stage where he's getting his trophy, and there's just this big wheel with 5 tracks on it, and he gets to spin it, and the track that he just won the championship is not on it, and wherever it lands, that's the championship race.
I don't think you can do that from like a scheduling standpoint.
Sure, you can. You can't buy tickets until after the season's over.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of dominoes and pieces that got to fall together for NASCAR to put their schedule together. I don't know. I just come up with a rotating schedule. Like, it doesn't even have to be random. Just come up with a rotating schedule.
Yeah, it's one of my things. It's got to be. You got to change the track every once in a while. It can't be
Yeah.
the same track over and over and over.
I think you can bake that into like an agreement. So say like you have say you have 5 tracks, right? And you pick 5. What, Vegas, Martinsville? Well, I don't know. You have your selections
for championship.
You have your selections of championships, right? And then they would be, because I think you have to keep Martinsville where it is if you're going to do this playoff thing. Or if we're saying
Phoenix,
we're getting rid of the playoffs.
Vegas, Charlotte, Homestead. That's it.
So in a world where you're getting rid of the elimination playoff style, I think you have those races as your last 3 or 4, however many you said, and just like an agreement between the 3, we're just going to shuffle the deck every year. You know, you're just gonna move around based on what, I don't know. Maybe it's a random order. Here's what it looks like for the next 5 years, and then you sort of update it every 5 years, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, I feel like we've complained about the playoffs a little too much. Get rid of the locked in. Like, yeah, we could keep going. Believe me, we could keep going.
We'll be here all night.
Hop in our Discord. We'll be probably talking about it for the next 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Just bitching about it. So, all right, we're gonna move on though. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe before we move on though.
Please do.
Definitely the thumbs up. How about the Xfinity? Justin Allgaier.
Great race.
Finally got it
Holy
done.
crap. How did he win this race? So let's just talk like awful weekend to just start. Goes into practice, 4th lap. I think somebody broke a drive shaft and broke their oil pan, put oil on the track, and like 6 cars just wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Allgaier's one of them. So just starting off, he's going to start at the back of the pack. He manages to get up there. He's pretty much leading, fighting for the win. And he gets a penalty. What was it? Oh,
restart violation.
Restart violation. Yeah, he turned down out of the lane like half a car early. NASCAR gets him. Okay, cool. Still on the lead lap. Oh, except he's sped on pit road. So now he's got to go in again. He's a lap car. And it takes him a while to get back. But he gets very lucky during green flag pit stops. Caution comes out when he's on the lead lap. Resets everything for him. And he manages to win it. He chased down Custer. Passed him. I mean, it was just great. The Herbst thing. I thought Herbst was going to just dump Allgaier.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap. Allgaier made a pretty questionable move.
Well, he also made a smart move by just kind of pulling over for him. And
he didn't want that smoke.
But what
he was just
Herbst
trying like
mad.
hell to throw that championship away the whole race.
I thought Herbst's tire was his left rear. It was smoking the whole time. I was like, I don't know how that made it.
Is that what put Allgaier in the back? Yeah, that's what put Allgaier in the back. First of all, was that risky move where he goes up. It was a 3-wide pass. He went up, hit Herbst, ends up his right rear goes flat right before the end of the stage. So he limps it home. I think it was 10th place. And then it was just on the restart. Then he gets the penalty. Then he gets the other penalty. It was just like, just jumped off a cliff and it was over. Like it was 100% over. But man, they stayed in it and congrats. Like, holy shit.
Well deserved. I was a deserving champion.
The only deserving champion of the weekend.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. Like the other years that he's been there and had like so much better years and better races and he doesn't win it. And then it's like this one where not the greatest season and all that, but he just fights like hell and wins it.
Yeah.
So
good for him.
Yep. Trucks. Ty freaking Majeski.
The iRacer
championship. Yeah. I think we all kind of said we hoped he wins it. He did. Not a surprise with that team. We've seen Ben Rhodes win it a couple of times at Phoenix in that truck. So good for Ty.
Yep.
What's his plans? Is he going back to trucks next season? I haven't really.
As far as I know, I mean, he works for ThorSport. He's an engineer there, so
yeah,
I'd imagine.
I think if more people watch the truck series, I think they'd be up in arms about the championship format over there too. Because he had
they already were.
Yeah, I know they are, but I think it'd be bigger because of like, what was it? he ran great. I don't know what it was like top
Eckes.
eyes or something like. Oh,
Eckes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Eckes would have been if you want to talk about like deserving champions, it would have been Eckes. Which
Yeah.
I guess
I mean,
I was
Heim
annoyed.
though.
I get annoyed. Go ahead. And
Heim
Heim
dominated
pretty good.
too.
I think Eckes was even way better than Heim.
I think average finish wise, but Heim's wins were ridiculous. He had, 8 wins or something?
But I mean, then again, to be fair, Truck Series, Trucks is getting to be like ARCA, where there's only like a handful of fast trucks worth that could actually win anyway. But I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we got anything else? Phoenix championship wise, you want to hit
think so.
before we
Covers
move on to
about all of
news?
Nope, burn it all down.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement. Okay, Carson Hocevar, Rookie of the Year.
Good for
I don't-
him.
Who was
Was
the
there
up
any
again?
other? I guess
Gregson.
Zane Smith. Zane
Was
Smith.
Gregson?
Yeah. Was he?
No,
I think they,
no, you're lying.
Was he?
No.
I thought he was.
He was rookie
He
last
he
year.
raced last year,
Oh, yes.
and then
duh.
he did stuff on social media in 2020 and got
Yeah. Okay.
Barry.
Barry, huh?
Yeah, Barry. Yeah, Josh Barry.
Yeah,
He was a rookie this year. Oh,
Yeah, he
I
was.
guess he would have been.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Other than that, I don't know. Zane Smith, who actually ended up having a good second half, but
He did.
yeah, once Trackhouse said get fucked, he started running really well.
That I'm gonna finish, but I'm gonna wreck this piece of shit.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should have talked about this during the playoff stuff. Christopher Bell says he feels cheated and should have been in the championship race. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
He's not happy.
I mean,
he's
I think he
off.
picked the word fixing very specifically.
Well, because
he's
Dale Jarrett. Yeah, it's. I think it's
Dale
further-
locked onto that.
Yeah, he's really. I'm like, hey, you have a little bit of truth in there, but I don't think anyone's point shaving in NASCAR. But
I don't know. Depends what how you consider it. Right?
I mean,
Like,
you look at it, you had 2 Chevys that got
Well,
penalized
point
for
shaving that
helping
way.
somebody get in. And if they didn't do that, then he wouldn't have had to
Yeah.
do what his thing was, and he would have been in. But
Right.
he gets penalized and kicked out.
I was saying more point shaving in the context of gambling. Obviously, that is they
Oh.
mess with points in that way, but I think that's what Dale was trying to say. But
it just it opens up an interesting conversation, especially if you're gonna have like a betting sport of like,
Yeah.
you know, you're
Right.
manipulating things and you're not, you know, because the whole idea is to like, you know, play your best, right? And to get the best thing you can. So if you're deliberately choosing to not, like that kind of fucks everything up.
Yep. 2311 and FRM denied their injunction against NASCAR.
They didn't deny it. They got it denied.
Yeah. This judge is just kind of, I don't know, washing his hands of this is what it feels like to me. He basically said that they have not been affected by this yet, so there's nothing to get an injunction on. So they haven't
They haven't been wronged yet.
Yes, but they have, because now NASCAR is saying we don't want them in our sport. So they're
Imagine
wrong.
saying you don't want Michael Jordan in your sport. What
I
the
know.
fuck, dude?
that's insane, man.
Crazy.
But I think that's why, again, talking about Christopher Bell choosing words, Denny Hamlin, they were asking him about having a third car in Daytona 500 or something, and he just said to be determined. So I think he's starting to choose his words in the media to make it sound like how this is going to negatively affect him.
Yeah, 100%. They did take it to the Supreme Court today, I believe. They filed a
The appeal, yeah.
appeal. So this is out of the state of North Carolina. I think this one will see a little more attention.
I was in North Carolina. That judge was paid by NASCAR.
Yeah. Yep. So now it's not. I mean, it still might be paid by NASCAR, but I think this is going to get a little more attention. Sad news. Bobby
They did
Allison
expedite
has
stuff,
passed
though.
away. Oh yeah, they did expedite the rest of the stuff. So there should still be a hearing and all that on the actual case. So we could still see them race, but as of right now, it's not looking too good. But yeah, sad news. Bobby Allison passed away.
R.I.P. That's a tough one.
Cale Yarbrough died this year too, man. We lost some greats.
Yeah, some legends, man.
FedEx officially announced they're leaving JGR and the sport.
Rip.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just think
Not
that's
good.
another
We saw it
another
coming.
state of the sport too. That's another big one. You have, I think I put a few in there: Mars, M&M's, Home Depot, Lowe's, Budweiser. I mean, Budweiser still is kind of in, but like Budweiser, Coors Light, you know, it's
I
just,
miss the beer cars, man.
Yeah.
Having all them beer cars was awesome.
like we get a
I
Busch
mean,
Light
the
car.
Busch
a
Light
couple
car
times-
looks pretty good.
We do, but we only
does.
get it a couple times
miss-
a year.
I
mean,
miss
big
having them all though. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Keep cutting your off.
I was gonna say big sponsors leaving the sport's never good, but at the same time, it's like they've kind of run a course. You know what I mean? Like they've been in the sport for how long, and no one's
Yeah.
going to stay in forever. I don't think
Right.
it's necessarily the end of the world to have the. I mean, what did Bank of America Stadium used to be called back in the day? It was like Wachovia Stadium or something like
Ackerson or something.
Eckers. Yeah, it's like that. You know, just because that sponsorship left, you know, that stadium doesn't mean that NFL was dying. You know, it's just like okay, they
Yeah.
were that stadium sponsor for years. They decided it was no longer, you know, to kind of run its course. They didn't need to anymore. So I don't know. I don't think it's the worst. I think what you want to see is other big sponsors entering the sport.
Mhm.
Right. You're not
for
seeing the
those
full
like
cycle.
right, like you want to see those long term sponsorships coming back in, or like joining to begin with. Which I,
Mhm.
you know, I think we've seen less and less of those season long sponsorships in the sport. But I don't know. I don't know if who's entering the sport right now to throw it back the other way. It's like, yeah, it's not bad they're leaving, but who's joining?
Yeah,
So,
and it's like,
But we just talked about viewership, and when you're down that much, why would a sponsor come in and be like, "Hey, you know, let me pay more money now and get less viewership"?
yeah. Well,
Very
and
true.
too, it's like
That makes
are
sense.
the only off the top of my head is Hendrick Cars and Ally are the only two like actual full 36 race sponsors for teams.
Bass Pro.
But they're not. But Austin Dillon's got that like asthma
They're-
medication too.
Bass Pro's taking Chase Briscoe all year.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, But, like,
Monster.
That's Monster.
Monster.
High
They have
Gibbs.
somewhat recently, I feel like.
But it's like, you know, because
No, they don't do all year because Ty Gibbs goes for Monster. He just does that. He gets
gets-
us.
Yeah,
That was
he has a third
Xfinity.
one. No,
That was always
he's done a cup. He's done a
There's,
couple.
there's been a couple. Yeah,
Yep.
I just feel like
FedEx wasn't 36 though, was it?
Not for
this
a
year.
while.
Yeah, not for a
the
while.
past couple years. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, they've
I
been.
don't know. It's
You can see this coming for sure. They've been slowly fading.
I just
out.
think it's such a bummer. Is like when I turn on a race, you know, I know the 5 car is going to be that Hendrick Cars red, white, and blue scheme. I know 48 is going to be purple Ally, and that's how like you get connected to a car, right? Like I've talked to people who like even my fiance. When I was like, hey, like what do you know about NASCAR? She's like, oh, like the M&M's car. You know, she doesn't know anything about NASCAR. I mean, she didn't. Now she does, but like she knew the M&M's car because that's on the track
she knew
every
Kyle Busch,
race,
He's the best.
and
He's a good one.
like
Joe's a
maybe
big fan,
she
so he's preached his gospel to her.
and maybe she caught that a highlight on ESPN or something. But like you have these cars that have this because now you have cars they have a different paint scheme every week. You can't keep up, right? And obviously we do because we watch NASCAR, but even Chase Elliott has Napa for most races, but even then they have like 5 different paint schemes a year too. So
The brand association's gone from what it used to be.
Mhm.
I mean, you used to
Well,
be
I
able to say M&M's, Kyle Busch, DuPont, Jeff Gordon,
Mhm.
Quality
Cru-
Care, Dale Jarrett, stuff like
Still,
that.
Silver
Good
Bullet,
wrench.
Coors Light,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and they'd have a special paint scheme maybe 2-3 times a
Right.
year, but now it's every race it's different. And
Well, I think it's the cost of sponsorship's gone up,
Mhm.
obviously with inflation, but I think it's increased even past the rate of inflation to where these cars are so expensive to build and maintain and run every year that for a company to shell out this kind of money for a sport that's not in its heyday anymore, I think that's really difficult for them to do versus they could put their name on a sponsorship board in an NFL game and potentially have the same ROI for a fraction, maybe not a fraction of the cost, but for less cost, or for the same cost even, but you're getting higher ROI. So yeah, I don't know. I think that the cost it takes to run these cars is insanely high. I think, and again, with viewership down, I think it's hard for these companies to do it. But yeah, so I think just in isolated thing. A big sponsor leaving a sport is not necessarily a bad thing if they've been in it for a while, whatever, they've run their course, whatever. But when you don't have when you zoom out, there's still all these other factors playing in. It's like, okay, yeah, this isn't good without anyone else coming back in to replace that spot,
Oh,
I wonder how much like the playoffs impact a sponsor's decision, because like if you don't make the playoffs, we all know you don't get like any coverage anymore. So I'm curious, like, or again, on the flip side of it, if you do make the playoffs, you get tons of attention. So I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, that's Michael McDowell wins a race. Obviously, that's great for the team. They make a lot of money from winning the race, but also now Loves is getting a ton of extra ROI on their investment because now they're at least in the first round of the playoffs. Like they're getting all the media days where Michael McDowell is wearing the Loves fire suit and all the photo shoots and everything and all the commercials and all that. It's like, okay, this is their investments are skyrocketed. So,
right.
Yeah, I think it definitely makes an impact.
Yeah. And it's like, because then it's kind of different. Like, I wonder, like, well, if you want us to increase our chances of winning a race and getting into playoffs, you're going to have to invest this amount of money so we can invest in our program. Like, I don't know. Those conversations could probably be pretty interesting.
And maybe that's it. Maybe that's another big reason NASCAR does the sponsorship. And maybe it's the thing. It's like the short-term mind. It's like, okay, if your team makes the playoffs, then sponsorships love that. So this is good for sponsorships, ignoring the fact that if viewers aren't liking the playoffs, they're losing viewers. And then the value of those sponsorships is plummeting. You know what I mean? In the long term. So maybe maybe NASCAR is looking too short term as to why they're such big playoff proponents. I don't know.
And then you're also screwing the other half of the field that didn't make the playoffs that you no longer talk about.
Well, also, I mean, you could say that, but also you're not talking about those teams anyway. Like if they're not winning, if they're not in the top 10, they're getting hardly any coverage. So
Yeah,
I mean, playoffs aside, like it's not a huge difference. I would argue.
That's why the whole fucking, not to dig up an old one, but that's gonna trigger Joe. But that's why like the whole number thing was funny because like TV doesn't even show half the cars anyway. So
Right.
like moving the number forward so the sponsor can make a slightly bigger logo, like what difference is that gonna make?
Right.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
okay. Well, any other news?
That's it.
Okay, well, no kill count.
No more Stuart Haas racing.
All right, B.
Well, yeah. You want to hop into season in review and off-season stuff, or
Sure.
do we want to? All right. Yeah. So no more SHR next season. Rest in peace.
Oh, was that on the list? I was.
That's literally next, but we
Yeah,
do the other stuff
segue.
first, and then we go into that.
They're still around, but in a different name and a different
What are they now? They're Haas something.
Haas factory team. One team
That's
car
dumb as
or one
hell.
team, one car team. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds so cool.
Cole Custer. Woohoo.
Might not see 2311 in FRM next season, possibly.
I sure hope we see him, but
I
not
think we
looking
will.
good.
Amazon, CW, TNT all will be streaming or showing races, broadcasting. That's what I'm looking for.
Broadcasting. There you go.
Yep. There will be streams. I don't know. I really hope Amazon steps up and does some cool stuff. Get some old racers that get like, I don't know, good personalities in there.
Isn't
just shooting
Junior doing
shit.
it with Amazon?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, but they're just doing an actual broadcast. I want something like the Manning. Stop touching your mic, Joe.
All right.
But something like the Manning podcast, or not podcast, Manning show.
Cast. Manning cast. Yeah.
Manning cast, that's it. But I think that'd be cool. And they got the opportunity to do it since they're streaming it. We get the Denny Hamlin bracket challenge. It's what, Iowa? Or the week after Iowa that starts. So I'm looking forward to that. That was a good time. Definitely, I felt there was a lot of fan engagement on that too. So
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're pretty set on the lineups unless anything with 23 and front row change. But
well, my thing is like, so Gregson just signed with FRM. Is he free to look around too?
yeah,
We heard Tyler Reddick's free to look around and explore options. It's just interesting to me. Do we ever hear who's going to the 7?
isn't that
Aspire car?
Mikey? Didn't I'm looking at the J-Ski site. Says Michael McDowell will go to. Oh no, he's 71. Yeah, I guess we don't know who's
Yeah.
going. Oh, Justin Haley. Duh, because they did the ride. They did the ride swap. Yeah.
Yep. Other than that, man, I can't really think of anything else. I mean, you got like stupid stuff like Ty Dillon coming over. I'm interested to see how Briscoe does in the 19. Barry in the 21. I don't know how I'll like that one. I want to be a Barry fan, but I don't know. It's a Penske satellite team. Oh, it'll be interesting. Who else did we lose? We lost what? Parker Kligerman's not a full-time driver now.
Yeah, that's true. Sadly.
Yep. The one thing I mentioned the other week too, and it actually has some news. I just saw that Rick Ware could possibly sell his charters, but I'm not reading into that too much. But the Allgaier news where he signed with JRM Motorsports, but it didn't say that he signed for Xfinity or anything. It's just like he signed it. It's like it's the possibility he goes to Cup or what? And then he just wins a championship. It's kind of like that. Like, here you go. Here's a Cup ride. I don't know.
Could be. I mean, not an open seat for him right now, but
yeah, I mean, there's spots open technically right now.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, NASCAR never signed over those SHR charters to FRM and 2311.
Who got their third charter? Is that one still floating out there?
Trackhouse? Wasn't it? No, RFK. RFK.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Priest will be in the 60 car next year. Which, speaking of Priest, holy crap, does SHR hate Priest? Like, what did he do?
Slept with Leah Pruitt.
Dude, I don't know. They just did not like that guy. Like the radio comms after the race and just throughout the season, they were ready to move on, and I'm sure Priest was too. Because I don't know, SHR as a whole was just kind of a clusterfuck the last couple of years. All right. Well, like I said, kill count, we got nothing. I think we can just skip Survivor Pool 2. I mean, it don't matter, right?
I mean,
yeah, I think we're good. We'll move on.
Yeah, you guys. I'll let you guys decide that. I will say this is an argument for full season points though. We
got multiple things here that got added. Shit.
Yeah, so I was messing with it. So I adjusted it for basically if you look at full season points and you don't do any bonus points, Joe and I are tied.
Ooh.
After the whole season.
Wow.
But then if you add him a bonus point for each win or whatever, through the regular season and the playoffs, Joe wins by 2 points.
Bonus points. Yeah.
And then
there's a playoff fan.
Yeah. And then if you do the reset, because I did two. I did one accounting for full season, and I did one for like a reset at the playoffs where it's just our bonus points, and then we start it over. Joe wins by 6. So there you go. Look at how much more exciting a full season format can be.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that.
Well, I think we go full season and you guys have to duel to the death. And whoever
I'm pretty sure
wins
there's
is
a mathing error though. There's no way that Joe won.
Oh,
Joe had a hell of a last 10 races.
He won 6.
Yeah.
So
I
don't know. Any way you cut it, Joe fucking wins. So we're never doing this bullshit again.
Yeah.
I was thinking about revamping this for next year. I got some ideas. We'll go over it at some point before the next season, and be more interesting. Hopefully, man. You guys, what do you think? We're done. It's the end of the 2024 season.
I was like a little break.
It is going to be nice.
NASCAR.
I was talking to these guys right before you hopped on. I was like, man, I'm excited that the season's over, but I don't think it's so much I'm worn out from the racing. I just think the bullshit that we've had to deal with for the last 10 weeks or so with, NASCAR officiating, the playoffs and all that. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah. I find the state of the sport particularly triggering. I hate that so much. Everything's great. Steve O'Donnell saying they don't have an officiating problem. Motherfucker, you had Elton Sawyer on the post-race coverage like 85 times this year. Don't tell me that there's not a problem officiating. And then he says he's going to
Yep.
make some adjustments. Well, if there's not a problem, why are you making adjustments, dickhead? Like, I just hate, we can't be honest. Like, it pisses me off. I understand that you got to have a positive spin and all that nonsense. But, like,
Yeah.
can we just be honest, please?
And then
Right.
and then on top of all that, you got the state-run NASCAR media that just, I don't think we mentioned this yet. Everything's fine, everything's sunshine and rainbows, like playoffs and like no, like it sucks. I know the glut polls aren't particularly scientific, but I think it was what, like 16% of people wanted to keep the playoff format.
Yeah,
I know, like,
16%.
don't go off a Twitter poll, but like clearly there is some pushback to your format, right?
And then it was like what 47% for
race.
season long, and then the rest was for the old
Like, the other way
Chase.
around. I think like 45 said for Chase, and the rest was.
We're getting
season
called bots, and everything's okay. And then Harvick is now a part of the state-run media, and it's just like, I mean, he always has been it, but I feel like recently he's come more like, you know, like Zach said, we can't go back to points. Harvick, shut up.
45% for the Chase, 38.6 for full season.
Ooh,
So the Chase was preferred.
I'd be
yeah.
fine with that.
I think that's just people being realistic. Like, I don't like.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. If we have to have some
the 10
sort of
races is
format,
better.
Yes.
it's much better than this.
Yeah. But yeah, we're all bots on the internet too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Fellow bot.
It-
This
it's
is
like the-
AI. right
Just
here,
sort of
guys.
circle
Like
back
you're
to what
seeing on
Drake was
YouTube.
saying.
Beep,
Circle
bop,
back what Drake was saying about how everybody hated the chase. Like it's almost like you don't know how bad it's going to get while you're in the middle of what you have, right? Like everybody hated the COT, but then we didn't realize how bad the Gen 6 would be. Then we all hated the Gen 6. We didn't realize how bad the Gen 7 would be. So it's like then you always like look back to the other car. Cause I mean, I don't think the COT race that bad. Just using that example. You know, I think the COT race is fine. But it was worse than the Gen 4. So everybody's like, oh, this car's dog shit. And it's just like you keep taking these steps down. So it's like, I guess in retrospect, like knowing where we're at now, the chase is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always the grass is greener, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. This just isn't working. It sure it makes exciting moments, but it's not what it should be.
Did you guys see the picture of Ty Gibbs' car after he smoked the fucking wall?
No.
It looks fine.
Really?
Like,
Dude,
yeah.
my heart stopped. I just saw the monster car get in the wall. I'm like, like, oh no, Tyler Reddick, what are you doing?
Oh yeah. Like, I don't know how to share this in the thing, but there it is in our Discord. Like, look at the side of that car. It's just scraped.
Good Lord.
Like that needs to
but
take
the rear
more
end
damage.
is so far in.
Well, like the suspension's fucked, but like the body of the car looks fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yikes.
he hit the wall hard.
I don't think that's a good thing. Like I feel like that should be.
It's like the old cars, like the Model Ts that I've seen people post like, look, back in the day, they made cars good. They would get in a wreck and they'd be fine. It's like, yeah,
Right.
they're going to have crumple zones and the person would die from a fender bender.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what it looks like.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
this car, it came out and everybody's getting, concussions and stuff like that. And they're like, why? It's like you built this thing to be a fucking tank. Of course, people are going to get hurt. Like you said, you go back to when they were racing back into the 20s when it was just this metal tub and it hit a tree at 100 miles an hour and the tree would break and they'd get a new driver for the car and it'd still keep going, but the driver's dead. It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really bad. That car should be really fucked up. It's just not.
Yeah, I mean, it might be underneath all that composite
I
body.
mean, that's all fucked, but I'm saying the body should be taking some of that. Like, obviously, the mechanical components, like the wheel and stuff, is fucked, but I don't know.
It just makes me hate the number placement a little bit more, too. Put them back in the center. Nobody's using that extra space.
All right.
Get contingencies back.
I saw somebody had an idea. I love this idea about the contingencies is that you get all the whoever's like making the different components, because we have the third-party suppliers now, have them be the contingency logos for the next
you
gen.
go.
I love that
Sure.
idea.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. Well, boys, I think we're going to wrap it up for the season.
Been a great season.
Before we go, like, follow, subscribe. We are done for the season, but we're going to try to get some interviews, get some more content up. We'll put some reels up, TikToks, all that fun stuff. We might have a podcast here and there if any big news, like from the 2311 FRM lawsuit. So, yeah, until then, we'll see you next season. See you.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye. I love you.
This has been a For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency's Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.